We do have a question from Levi Moore from McKee, who asks, and this is about medical marijuana. Where do you stand on the medical marijuana issue? And I'll throw that to both of you, and I'll let Mr. Stepp go first, since you've gone first several times, Mr. Sykes.
Okay. Well, of course, the previous candidate on here was mentioning about the Constitution and things, and the 10th Amendment says that the things not specifically granted to the federal government are reserved for the states, and I suggest that marijuana is more of a state problem, that you know, the federal government does have a marijuana tax, but they should limit that to collecting tax-enhancing revenue and leave it up to the states to decide what else should be illegal and what else shouldn't. But I wouldn't be pressing the federal government to try to be putting more people in jail for marijuana possession.
Mr. Sykes?
This is one area that we disagree upon. I don't believe that any person living in one state should be limited to life-changing medication. If they are going to limit medical marijuana across borders, then one person living across the border in a state where it's illegal to have that is infringing upon their constitutional right. We have to be able to provide that across the board. I think that legalizing it at the federal level is the only way that we're to make sure that all states and all citizens are able to have access to that medication. And if I may, if we're looking at medical marijuana, we can go ahead and look at the impacts that has on the opioid addiction that we have here in the 5th Congressional District. I mean, it's rampant. You know, every small community, every family living up every creek and holler has been impacted in some shape, form, or fashion by the opioid addiction that we have here. And it is proven that medical marijuana it's a pathway to recovery in that essence.
Some would say that it's also a gateway drug that many use as their first experience with illicit drugs, and then progress, therefore, to something much harder.
That is an argument that you've heard persistently against the marijuana industry. But who truly benefits from that mindset? Is it the pharmaceutical industry, or is it the individuals that are seeking treatment? I mean, that's one of the things that we have to look at. I do believe that medical marijuana it can produce miracles for those that are on other types of drugs for pain management. And it is non-addictive. Studies have shown that.
Do you have other ideas on how to get at the opioid epidemic that particularly has hit the 5th Congressional District pretty hard, other than just the legalization of medical marijuana? You think that's the whole?
No, I mean, that's not the whole kit and caboodle. I mean, you know, it's a very complex situation. The one thing that we have to restore is hope. I mean, it comes down to economic opportunity. These people are you know, they're struggling. And whenever you look and you see the addiction, you see it directly tied to the paralyzing poverty that we have here in our 5th Congressional District. So if we truly want to do that, if we truly want to address the opioid epidemic, let's provide economic opportunities for the people who are struggling, and to make sure that children are provided with a good job once they get out of school, whether it's in HVAC or going on to college and graduating.
Sticking